Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name is Soph.
I'm Gaynor.
And we've not done Lost in the Pond for quite a while, I don't think.
Yeah, we did used to do quite a lot of them when we enjoyed it,
yeah,
didn't we?
Yes. He's really good, Lawrence, isn't
Yeah,
he?
he is.
So we thought today we'd do the 5 greatest American accents.
It'd be interesting to see if we can tell the difference between all the different accents.
Yes. Because I feel like you drive 10 minutes up the road and over here there's a different accent.
Yeah.
Whereas, yeah, if we can distinguish which ones they actually are.
Yeah, I struggle between Philadelphia and New Jersey and New York. They all kind of, the New York, the kind of real brash one you get, but New Jersey and New York suburbs, I don't get
confused with them.
Yeah, I don't get a big difference. Whereas obviously a lot of people will be like, no, it's
they'll
so
know
different.
straight away. Yeah, they'll know straight away.
Yeah. California and
oh yeah, and then New York,
yeah.
It's because they're completely different sides of the country.
Yeah.
But what do you think is going to be number 1 or one of the 5?
I think New York's got to be on there. That's
Gotta be.
Yeah.
And then I do think maybe
a Texas accent, a southern accent maybe.
Some sort of Texan accent, and then I think maybe as well like a Californian, what do you call them, like a valley girl accent. Yeah, that's one of my favourites. But yeah, we'll see what Lawrence has to say. So 5 greatest American accents.
For me it's quite simple. I agreed to do the video. I did not agree to wear a t-shirt of George Washington holding a hot dog. It's tacky. Just go get my yellow mustard jumper. People love to see me in that. Hello, I'm Lawrence and I'm on a quest to uncover all of the memos that Britain and America lost in the pond, and one of those memos pertains to accents. Specifically, the different accents that I've heard since moving to the United States. So you know how British people get up in arms when Americans think that Britain only has 2 accents, Cockney and YouTube sensation Lawrence Brown? Well, the longer that I live in America, and by now that's been 15 years, I've come to discover, much to my...
Sorry, I feel like we say this all the time in every video, but where's he from? Where in the UK?
I do know.
Because he speaks quite slowly, doesn't he? So I'm thinking...
Is it Grimsby?
Where's Grimsby?
Oh, I'm going to have to look now. I'm sure. For some reason I thought it was Grimsby.
I'm trying to think, is it north? Is it,
No, it's north, Grimsby.
North. Because I wouldn't say he's southern, but then he does speak quite slowly compared to most parts of the north where everyone talks quite fast.
Yeah. What's his name?
Lawrence.
So it says here, Lawrence grew up in England. I know that, but where in blooming England?
Let us know in the comments if you know whereabouts he's from. Cause
yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure someone will know, fingers crossed.
My own chagrin that us Brits have been making the same faux pas about the United States. Oh, and if you're not subscribed to this channel, do that now. For the longest time, I was under the misapprehension that the only accents that existed in this country were Harrison Ford, Robert De Niro, and Dolly Parton. But experience has taught me otherwise. Is that really the line? I've worked with people from all over the Midwest, and I've been to various parts of America, and in doing so, I've heard some wild inflections, delightful pronunciations, and also eaten a lot of food, but that's beside the point.
Philadelphia.
And so today, I thought it would be a good idea to make a video that will get me cancelled by half of the country, in which I list my 5 favourite regional accents in the United States. Can we say 5 of my favourite regional accents? So if your accent didn't make the list, it's either because there are just too many great accents in the US, or because it is genuinely rubbish. So as my cat digs his claws into my stomach, here are some of the best American accents that I've heard since moving to the United States. I should have prefaced this video by saying that I am not a speech coach. I am by no means an expert on delivering these accents, so do not expect me to replicate them here for your viewing pleasure. You want me to try my best. Having lived in Chicago for the last 7 years, I've heard things, right? Mostly taxis, honking, but I've also heard hints of what is known as an upper Midwestern accent. And you might just be thinking, ooh, Lawrence, why didn't you just include the Chicago accent in that case? And the reason is that every time I hear the Chicago accent, people sound angry, especially when they're not. So I thought I'd tell you all about the upper Midwestern accent that you hear in places like Minnesota and Wisconsin. During my first job in America, there was a woman in my training class who was from Wisconsin. And after hearing her speak a few times, I realized that she didn't sound like the rest of these people from Indiana. And mostly that came from the way she pronounced her O's, right? It was something like, ooh, just not as high-pitched as that. And I can't really do it because when I try to do it, I end up sounding Irish, which is true of most accents that I try. It was very endearing. I think she would say the word to go. To go, again, sounds Irish. Essentially, they do it in one syllable, sort of a monophthong. When we non-Northern Midwesterners try to say the sound O, it's sort of O, whereas they do it, it's like ooh. Like that. But one thing that I heard the other day is that Northern Midwesterners do this thing where they sort of close up their mouth, you know, no, that's, well, what is that? I don't know what accent that is. But they close up their mouth and that sort of helps to truncate some of those vowel sounds a little bit. As to why they sound Irish, I don't know, because I'd heard that much of the way that people speak in the Northern Midwest is influenced by Scandinavians. Maybe some Irish people came in and they all had a big party, and at the end of it, that was the result. But my absolute favourite thing about Northern Midwestern English is the way they pronounce the word bag. Right? It's not bag, it's more like beg. Beg, as in to beg for food. And to me, and this might just be a weird quirk of who I am, I find that very attractive. I'm happily married, but if I was single and I went on one of those dating sites and a woman in her profile said, by the way, I'm really into English guys and I pronounce it beg, then we would definitely be going to a date. If she pronounced it beg, as some of them do, then we're getting married and I would subject myself to a lifetime of talking about bags.
Beg.
So maybe this wouldn't be such a great idea.
Boston, yeah.
Back in 2004, I got the chance to visit Boston for the first and so far only time. And while I was there, I was hanging out with friends and also friends of friends. And they just all happened to be mostly Harvard students because in those days I was extremely elitist. But during the day, while they were busy learning Latin or something like that, I'd go off into the town or city centre and I frequented an ice cream shop. And I was speaking to sort of the servers there, and I noticed their accent was so strong, right? They'd lived in the city clearly their entire life to that point, where they'd say something like, hey, buddy, want some nuclear power with that? That was JFK pronouncing nuclear power 60 years ago. But you still heard a Bostonian accent. But at the same time, I don't want to just draw on the stereotypical words that people use when they do a Boston accent, like park or car or yard. So instead, I've got far, dark, and hard. It's kind of hard to run far in the car. I got the wrong word, but you get the general picture. The beauty of that kind of old world Bostonian English is that it doesn't adhere to the same rhotic pattern that a lot of American English does, where you pronounce that final R. And so it almost has this feeling of being a marriage between British and American English. And I picked Bostonian for this just because I have first-hand experience of it. But just from watching television, it's evident that there's some absolutely delightful and delicious East Coast accents all over the shop. I was watching this one show recently, I think it was one of those Bake Off Challenge type shows, and one of the contestants was from Rhode Island. And he pronounced the word marinara like marinara. It was the most glorious thing I've ever heard.
That's how I pronounce marinara. Marinara. Like he said he pronounced marinara. Like marinara.
Marinara. Is that like the sauce you put on a pizza? Like the tomato sauce?
Yeah.
I'd say marinara.
Marinara.
Not marinara.
No.
Marinara.
Yeah.
It's A-R in it.
Yeah.
Marinara.
Yeah.
Sauce.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would.
Chicken parm. Marinara.
Marinara. I can't even say it now. Marinara. Marinara. Yeah, that's weird. Unless you just picked up like a Boston accent here in Manchester. I don't know. And they got it from us. Who knows?
A few years ago, I got to visit the state of Pennsylvania for the first time, and before doing so, I don't think I was fully aware what a linguistically rich state it is. On the far west part of the state is the city of Pittsburgh, and that was the first place in Pennsylvania that I arrived at since we were coming from Chicago. We were there just for the 4th of July, so we didn't have a lot of time in the city, but while we were there, I did try to listen out for a local accent. And here's what I figured out. In Pittsburgh, the alphabet only has 25 letters, and L isn't one of them. Because it's almost like when they say words that has an L in the middle of it, it ends up somewhere back here. For instance, take the name of another well-known Pennsylvania city, Philadelphia, which has 2 instances of L. I imagine that somebody from Pittsburgh probably pronounces it Philadelphia. That, I don't know what that was. That sounded like my dog. So sorry to the people of Pittsburgh. Let me know in the comments below if you're from Pittsburgh and how you pronounce your L's or don't pronounce your L's. I just noticed there was an absence of L's. And famously, Pittsburghian people, Pittsburghers, people from Pittsburgh pronounce the vowel sound in town like tan, like downtown, downtown. Downtown. It's almost Cockney. It's definitely different. It's very unique, I think, to Pittsburgh. I even tried to get one of the waitresses who served us at a restaurant to say it without asking, because I imagine that they get that a lot from tourists. And so I just sort of tried to tease it out of her by saying, where exactly are the 4th of July fireworks taking place tonight? And frustratingly, although rightly, her answer was, by the rivers. And so I never got to hear her say, downtown. Downtown. Which one is it? I need to watch a YouTube video on this. A few days after leaving Pittsburgh, we ended up in the previously mentioned Philadelphia. And to my ears, it was pretty wild how one state could have 2 completely different variations on the English language. Because the first thing that I'd say upon hearing a Philly accent, of which locals say there are many Philly accents, it sort of sounded to my British ears like a New York accent, but I think there was some subtle differences in there. You know, on this channel, I've often talked about how when I'm in a restaurant in most places in the United States and I order a water, the server's eyes usually meet mine with a look of utter confusion before they realise that what I'm ordering is what they pronounce as water. Philadelphia does it a little...
Right, I saw a TikTok, because I was just obsessed with it. This guy literally was like, tested if this was true, and obviously this British guy just went into like, you know, like a gas station in America and was like, can I have a bottle of water? And like to see like what, like if they'd actually know what it was on about. And they're like, what? Water, bottle of water. And he literally could not get it. Yeah. And I went, water. And he was like, oh yeah. But like, it's such a similar word where I don't understand how you could not understand it.
It's the same as butter.
Butter.
If you say,
butter.
Can I have some butter? They
butter.
Say, You go, butter. They go, You go, butter.
Butter.
Go, oh, butter.
But it sounds like the same word to me anyway. Yeah. Because I'd know if someone came over here and said, can I have like some butter. I'd know they meant butter.
Yeah. Or if they say, can I have a glass of water?
Yeah, I'd know they meant water. So I just don't understand how, I don't know.
Even like when you go to the ice cream man and you want what we call an ice lolly.
Yeah.
And we went to the ice cream man and Darren went, can I have and he actually turned round and went to get something out the freezer. And he went, can I have an ice lolly? And he went, a what? And he went, I don't know what you call them, an ice lolly. And he's like, huh? And he's like, on a stick. And he's like, huh? And then somebody behind went, popsicle? And he went, popsicle.
I mean, that I can understand more, I guess, because it is just like, it is a different word. Even though you know, if you go into an ice cream van, you know you want some form of ice cream. But like, I don't understand the water. It baffles me.
Yeah.
A little bit differently to that. They pronounce it something like wooder. Wooder the woodpecker. No, it's Woody. I mean, there's almost a joke in it that a Philadelphian, a British person, and other American people walk into a bar and order water. And in that same joke, you might have a person from each party who asks, in my case, from Britain, have you eaten yet? Or as some people might say in Indiana, where I used to live, have you ate? In Philadelphia, it's more like, gee. It almost sounds like they're suppressing a hiccup. And also among Philadelphians, correct me if I'm wrong, the vowel sound in the word on is more like on. So describe YouTube sensation Lawrence Brown. Oh, that guy, he walks on water. Walks on water. I don't actually. This is just the perception that people have developed, mostly because of propaganda and lies, and a healthy grain of truth. And finally, West Virginia. And if you're new to this channel, you're probably thinking, what does a city dweller know about life in the mountains? Well, I am a bona fide mountain man, I'll have you know. I mean, this is still my house in Illinois. but what I said is true. Because in addition to all of the world-renowned hiking that I am renowned for throughout the world, I'm married to an American who has familial ties to West Virginia. And that means that we've spent countless Labor Day weekends up in the mountains with said family members. And it's great because one tradition that we have is to play bluegrass music. And it was so contagious that at one point even I got up and played guitar and even sang. The footage has since been confiscated by the CIA, so you won't get to see that. But when we're not singing and when I'm not stuffing my face full of chicken dippers, we are in conversation. I say we, I can't get a word in edgeways. But for the purposes of my channel, that's good because it means that I just get to listen to them speak. And the first thing I noticed, they have this very soft, gentle way of talking, which is not what I'd expect of people living in the mountains. You know, you might have to fend off bears. I suppose that's a lovely way of putting them to sleep. But when you look at a map, I imagine that West Virginia isn't too far away from the point at which Northern American English starts becoming Southern American English. And I think because of that, to my ears, that Southern West Virginia accent isn't quite as pronounced as something in, say, Alabama. But they do still say things like, fine. At least my wife's cousin Chad did when I asked him how his family life's going. Well, you don't want to find yourself out there in the woods alone at night, Lawrence, because you could run into some of them black bears over yonder, right? They like to say they like the phrase over yonder, which is good because it helps to keep Shakespeare alive in the 21st century. Oh, and I'm pretty certain that I heard this for the first time in West Virginia, although subsequently heard it in other states like Indiana and Ohio, pronouncing Washington as Warshington, and I've just now realized that's why you made me wear the t-shirt. Yeah, he's not George Washington carrying a hot dog. He's George Washington carrying a hot dog. That was Forrest Gump. Sorry, I'm really bad at this. And so those right there were 5 of my favourite American accents. And you're probably thinking, oh, everything you just listed is situated east of the Mississippi. That's because I definitely want to set up a second video in which I discuss Western American English, which broadly speaking and incorrectly, people often associate with General American English and is therefore all the same. But this isn't true. There are subtle differences between, say, a Pacific Northwest accent and a Californian accent. Somebody wrote the other day that a Pacific Northwest accent sounds like a Canadian surfer dude. So I can't wait to look into that. And to any of my viewers who may be from Chicago and occasionally frequent a gym, I love the Chicago accent, personally. It's just, I didn't want to be biased, you know. So, bonus entry, the Chicago accent. There we go. Well done. Well done. We did it. We made it into the list. I love the accent. Actually do. Thanks for watching. And did you know that a few years ago, I took the American dialect quiz to see which American dialect was closest to my own? You can watch the results right there. I'm Lawrence Brown. You can follow me on Twitter at...
Gosh, that must have been a few years ago.
Yeah, yeah. He's gained about 20 pounds and lost a lot of hair.
Got a bit grey on the beard.
Yeah.
He's actually, obviously, I've never heard any of them accents in real life, so I wouldn't know, but he actually does quite a good
American
accents, doesn't he? Yeah. He must have been picked up along the way.
Yeah, we'll have to get Declan on the show. Because he's American accent is amazing. In fact, all his accents, he's very, very good at accents.
Because Aidan can do does a really good job of accents as well.
Yeah, I don't know where it is. I'm terrible. I can't do them at all.
I can barely do my own accent, let alone anyone else.
I can't even do like a Brummie accent. I sound like a Liverpudlian. If I do a Liverpudlian accent, I sound like a Brummie.
I'm just honestly, any accent I do, like it just turns Scouse. It just turns like I'm from Liverpool, and I'm like. But I have been asked that like quite a lot of times. Are you from Liverpool? And I'm like, no. Yeah. Like I don't know.
It's only 30 minutes down the road though, isn't it? So it should kind of be a little.
There's things in similar. Yeah, things similar. I don't know. Maybe when I've had a few drinks, I get go a bit Scouse. But but no, I quite like them. You should do a few more of them. I do like Lawrence.
Yeah, I do.
But thank you for watching along, everyone. And we do have a Patreon as well. So Gaynor is just going to tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah, it's just $3 a month, just one fee. We have lots of stuff on there. We've got competitions, we've got getting to know us, we've got Sophie's Saturday movie thing,
and any exclusive content that you won't see here. So we'd like to see you over there if you want to check it out. Yeah. And we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.